Hello music lovers, welcome to the channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. In this one we're going to take a look at the career-ending video by Billy Squier called Rock Me Tonight. Remember this one? Yeah, well before we get into that, I'm going to tell you, I came up with the idea for this video from your comments. That's right, a video that I made recently, Beatles versus Stones, got a comment from a subscriber named Casino Snoopy, and he said this, he said, you probably should deduct a point from the Stones over that god-awful Dancing in the Streets video Mick did with David Bowie. Remember that mess? I mean, you want to talk about a real shitstorm. That video was unbelievably bad. But then he goes on to say it gives that Billy Squier video a run for its money. So I started thinking, maybe I should do a video about the worst music videos. You don't even need the audio. Just looking at it is a disaster in itself. And I said, well, let me just start off with Rock Me Tonight. There's certainly enough there to do a proper video. So that's where this one comes from. So thank you, Casino Snoopy, for the spark for this idea. And I do check the comments. I do interact with you. You never know where a video idea can come from. So please engage. It's one way to help support this channel grow, all right? So let's talk about this video, Rock Me Tonight by Billy Squier. If I could turn back time, Cher. First thing I would say is put on some fucking pants, will you? Actually, one of the first things I would do is I would go back to 1984 and I would go find Billy Squier. I'd say, look, man, I got some good news and I got some bad news, okay? The good news. You see this thing going on right now, MTV? It's got the kids going crazy. It's changing music. Well, in the year 2011, I know it sounds like a space age from now, but believe me, it'll be here before you know it. In 2011, there's going to be a book called I Want My MTV, and you, my friend, get a whole chapter devoted to you. Can you believe that? Yeah, well, don't start stroking just yet, all right? I got some bad news. The bad news is the name of the chapter is a whopping, steaming turd, the worst music video ever made. Now, I'm not even sure if advance notice could have prevented this steaming pile from getting on the airwaves. I mean, there were so many red flags in pre-production during the filming of the video, and then certainly afterwards, in between the time that it was finished and it went to air. Why didn't anybody catch any of this? Well, we're going to get into that in just a little bit, but first I want to set the scene for what the world was like for Billy Squier going into this video in 1984. He had, in the early 80s, a couple of major hit albums, a lot of hit singles. Remember the albums Don't Say No and Emotions in Motion? It spawned big hits like The Stroke, In the Dark, Lonely as the Night, My Kinda Lover, Emotions in Motion, and Everybody Wants You. Now, for his fourth album, Signs of Life, which came out in July of 1984, he wanted to try a different approach when it came to the video. This is what he said about how he saw the video for Rock Me Tonight happening. He said, I had an idea for the video based on the ritual of going to a concert. If we admit it, when we're getting ready to go out, we're checking our clothes and our hair. So I wanted to show me doing that in my apartment, then cut back and forth with kids getting ready to go to a Billy Squier concert and sneaking out of the house. In the last chorus, they get to where they're going. I get to where I'm going. We're all in it together. And actually, when Billy Squier was talking about himself getting ready for the show, in his mind, he was thinking about American Gigolo, this movie that came out in 1980 with Richard Gere in this scene where he's picking his clothes before he goes out. And he had this guy in mind to do the video, Bob Giraldi. Now, Bob Giraldi, at this point, he had done a few prominent videos in the 80s. He had done like Love is a Battlefield for Pat Benatar. He also did Beat It by Michael Jackson, Hello by Lionel Richie. However, when Bob Giraldi figured out that there wasn't much of a budget for this video, he just backed out of it totally. And so then Billy Squier went and he approached David Mallett. Now, David Mallett had done a shit ton of prominent videos in the 80s, a who's who of 80s videos. I mean, he did Games Without Frontiers by Peter Gabriel, Queen and David Bowie's Under Pressure, Photograph by Def Leppard, Billy Idol's White Wedding, Queen, Radio Gaga. He did, I mean, we're just scratching the surface here. However, when David Mallett presented the storyboard for Rock Me Tonight, and it included Billy walking into a diner on a white horse, he immediately let David go. said that he was not right for this video. And of course, David Mallett, the same guy that produced Dancing in the Streets, Mick Jagger and David Bowie. Imagine him presenting that storyboard. It's like, yeah, guys, just, dance around like fucking idiots for 3 minutes. It's going to be great. Trust me. What's funny is David Mallett really didn't like the song at all, and maybe that's why he pushed him such a crazy idea just to get him off his back. But Billy Squier struck gold with David Mallett's choreographer, a guy by the name of Kenny Ortega. This was also a friend of Billy Squier's girlfriend at that time. However, Billy Squier's manager wasn't too crazy about the idea, and we'll probably find out soon enough why that is. But here's what Billy had to say about Kenny. He said, the idea Kenny pitched was, I've seen you perform, and you have great moves on stage. Let's go on a sound stage, you take the guitar off, and do stuff you would do on stage. So now, what is Kenny Ortega referring to, having seen Billy perform on stage? What are the moves that impress Kenny? Well, he would maybe talking about stuff from some of Billy's previous videos like this. So he must have seen this and said, yeah, without the guitar, this will be the 80s music video gold we're looking for. So then Billy goes on to talk about his vision for the Rock Me Tonight video, and he says this. He says, I wanted it to look like American Gigolo, grainy textures, somber colors. I was very clear about this. Kenny made a reference to the Tom Cruise scene in Risky Business where he's playing air guitar. I said, absolutely not. This is not a pop video. We shot on a soundstage in LA only a week or two before the world premiere. And that was another problem, is that MTV had the world premiere for Rock Me Tonight booked before they even knew what they were going to do in the video, before they even had a director. And so they were, from this point forward, they were like backs against the wall all the way up until it was done. And before we get into the video itself, it's time for a quick round of In the Dark trivia. All right, which member of Queen made a guest appearance on a Billy Squier album? Was it Freddie Mercury, guitarist Brian May, or drummer Roger Taylor? Or was it all of the above? The answer is D, all of the above. That's right, 3 of the 4 members of Queen made guest appearances on Billy Squier albums. Actually, they were 3 consecutive albums, Emotions in Motion, Signs of Life, and Enough is Enough. Actually, Billy Squier wanted Brian May to produce his second album, Don't Say No, but Brian was a bit busy with Queen. In the early 80s, Queen were riding high. Brian couldn't produce the album, but he did recommend a producer named Mac. Now, Mac is the same guy that produced Queen's breakthrough album, The Game, also Hot Space. And so this is who Billy Squier used on Emotions in Motion and Signs of Life and everything. And if you listen closely, you can hear the same drum sound on The Game, and Hot Space is the same one that you'll hear on Emotions in Motion. I mean, Emotions in Motion, you can hear Freddie all over that song, breathing all over it. I think Roger Taylor is also on that. Roger Taylor of Queen, he has a similar vocal style to similar vocals to Billy Squier, and if Roger Taylor had sung Emotions in Motion, it could have easily have been on Hot Space, would have been probably the best song on that album. But, Billy Squier went on to open up for Queen on the Hot Space tour, and he and Freddie became really close friends, and I wouldn't be shocked if some of Freddie's dance moves rubbed off on Billy Squier. Billy may have been channeling Freddie Mercury in this video, which we're about to see. All right, so now it's time. I am going to play the entire video straight through. We're going to take a look at it. I'm going to give you my commentary, and I'm also going to include commentary from the book I Want My MTV, quotes from people who were involved with this video, all right? So I'm going to be rolling that in just a second. Just a couple of notes here, though. There's no audio because for copyright reasons, I can't include that, but you know what? We don't need the audio. The visuals are enough. Second, usually with a reaction video, you would see me reacting to the video. That's how it's usually done, but you don't need to be looking at me at all, okay? All eyes need to be focused on this video, okay? And you will understand why. So without further ado, let's jump into Billy Squier, Rock Me Tonight. Let's go. All right, so to kick things off, here's a quote from Billy. There wasn't much time left. I come to the set and see all these pastel colors, a comic book city backdrop, smoke machines, a bed with satin sheets. This is not what we said we were going to do. And Kenny Ortega says, no, trust me, when it goes on to film, it'll look the way you want. So this is going to look like American Gigolo? Yep. I didn't like the sheets, but I trusted the guy. I mean, look, Kenny is gay. And this is the way he saw me. He abused my trust. I really feel that. He did not do what he said he would do. All right, now, you know, at this point, we can already get a sense that things are not looking really good as Billy, you know, busts out his dance moves. And it's like, Billy, you know, if I can give you any advice, when that door opens, go through it. Your band is in there. Please, trust me, go through the door, Billy, please. All right, look, now we're going to make believe like you lost your contact lens. It's across the room. You're doing a great job, Billy. Okay, now this is the move. We call this one, your career has fallen and it can't get up. Okay, that's the one we're going for there. And now how about this one? All right, Billy, I want you to make a believe that the pink shirt is a pizza pie. I want you to throw it up in the air. There you go, Billy. That's Italiano. All right, now we got Arnold Stiefel, a talent manager. He said, I mean, I don't know that Barry Manilow ever did such a gay video. Billy was dancing like Gene Kelly and singing in the rain. He was jumping on beds and ripping off his shirt. He's the world's most horrible dancer. This is the great Kenny Ortega. How could he have allowed such a thing? All right, so then we got Pete Angelis. He's the manager for the Black Crowes. He says, let me stop you right there. What could the director have said? You're going to dance around like an idiot, and don't worry, we'll cut around it. There's no finger pointing in that regard, Mr. Squier. I don't care if the director was lying dead on the floor. You shouldn't have put on a fucking pink t-shirt and danced around like that. Now, this is the part of the video where I think Billy might have been hanging out with Freddie Mercury a little bit too much. Maybe the night before, Billy was watching Queen's crazy little thing called Love. I don't know, but a little bit of Freddie here, I don't know. What do you think? Mick Kleber of Capitol Records, he said when the rough cut arrived at Capitol, the immediate consensus was that Billy's performance was disturbingly effeminate. Is this supposed to be funny? Is Billy okay with this? He looks totally gay. A pink shirt? What was he thinking? It wouldn't be so bad except for all the skipping. Maybe we should call it Cock Me Tonight. I mean, maybe we should kill it right now. But Billy's already approved it. Fuck it. It's only a video. Now, as for Billy Squier, he said, when I saw the video, my jaw dropped. It was diabolical. I looked at it and went, what the fuck is this? I remember a guy from the record company saying, don't worry about it. The record's a smash. I wanted to believe it would be okay. My girlfriend said something like, this is going to ruin you. This is where I'll take responsibility. I could have stopped it. And it's like, Billy, you know, just sit by the side of the bed, buddy. Just don't do anything, just stay right there. Billy went on to say, the video misrepresents who I am as an artist. I was a good-looking, sexy guy. That certainly didn't hurt in promoting my music, but in this video, I'm kind of a pretty boy, and I'm preening around the room. People said he's gay or he's on drugs. At that point, I told my manager, pull the video, just get it off TV. I was a mess. Now, Billy's manager, Tom Moeller, he said, I was at the shoot and I asked Kenny only one thing. Please make sure you film the entire song with the band. I wanted coverage so we could cut away to the band. He said, no problem. And that never happened. You see, if they had shot the whole video like this with the entire band, they could have scrapped all that other shit and they could have just gone with this. And it probably would have saved everything. But no, they didn't. They only had the end of the song. Arnold Stiefel, an artist manager, he said, I saw it last night on YouTube and I almost peed. I had to keep watching it over and over. All I could do was call friends and say, you must go to YouTube right now. The response was extraordinary. You mean this was on television? I said, it was on television, I promise. So what did some of Billy's peers think about it? Rudy Schenker from the Scorpions. I liked Billy Squier very much, but then I saw him doing this video in a very terrible way. I couldn't take the music serious anymore. Steve Lukather of Toto. Billy Squier was a cool guy. I worked on one of his records, but that video killed his career. And then Phil Collin of Def Leppard, he said Squier learned the hard way that rock singers shouldn't skip through their bedroom ripping their shirts off. That's in the first chapter of the Rock Handbook. You should know that straight off the bat. And then finally, Mick Kleber, he sums it all up. The Enterprise was a whopping, steaming turd, just about any way you look at it. All right, so what did you guys think about this Rock Me Tonight video by Billy Squier? Leave your comments below. I would love to know what you guys thought about this video. So what effect did this have on Billy Squier? You know, was this something that he felt, you know, with the next album, the next tour, or was it something immediate? Well, Billy Squier gave us a clue on that in the book, I Want My MTV. Here's what he had to say about the effect that this video had on his career. He said the video had a deleterious effect on my career. The tour before, I was selling out arenas faster than Sinatra, and as soon as that video came out, I was playing to half houses. I went from 15,000 and 20,000 people a night to 10,000 people. Everything I'd worked for my whole life was crumbling and I couldn't stop it. How can a 4-minute video do that? Okay, it sucked. So, Kenny Ortega didn't get hurt by this. I did. That's ironic. Nobody said, I'm not going to hire him. Look what he did to Billy Squier. He just moved on. The only person who got hurt by it was me. If you want to get really dramatic, you could say the guy crippled me. All right. Really, who's to blame here, Billy? Really? You know what I think the problem is? The problem is nobody ever bothered to tell Billy Squier that he couldn't dance. If somebody in Billy's life had been honest with him and said, look, dude, you just don't have the moves. Don't do that. Don't skip across the room. Just don't do it. If somebody had told him that, maybe he wouldn't have felt so confident that he had the moves. He maybe wouldn't have busted out across the room and Rock Me Tonight. You know, it kind of reminds me of the scene out of that Seinfeld episode where Elaine thinks that she can dance. You know, she's at this party and she embarrasses herself. And later, when George tries to explain it to Jerry, he described it as, you know, more like a full-body dry heave set to music. But also, let's not forget that Kenny Ortega was not an experienced rock video director, and most importantly, he was gay, which reminds me of another Seinfeld episode. You know, not that there's anything wrong with it. You know, my father's gay. But you know, having a director that was gay was just not going to help Billy Squier get the image out that he needed to in this video. I mean, he needed somebody to make sure that he had the real masculine thing going, especially with video pretty much taking over the senses. You know, MTV became a radio station. We were no longer listening to things. We were watching things. Image was everything. It was so important that Billy have the right image. You know, maybe the gay thing worked for Boy George, but certainly was not something that Billy Squier needed to be anywhere close to. Now, something else that this did, it caused a problem with Billy and his manager, Tom Moeller. I mean, look, Billy was the best man at Tom Moeller's wedding not that long before this video. And he fired Tom. He got rid of him, did not want to work with him again. I have a feeling Billy was just trying to make some sense out of what happened, but you really can't blame anybody but Billy. Now, on his next album, Enough Is Enough, for the video Love Is the Hero, which features Freddie Mercury all over it, he's got a guitar in his hand. And, you know, they probably said, Billy, hold this guitar, stand up against this fucking column, don't move. All right, just stay there, be cool. Then in this other part of the video, he's sitting in a windowsill, you know, so a lot of safe stuff going on here. Well, by this time, too, Billy Squier's career was pretty much done. I mean, you could say that it was because of the Rock Me Tonight video, or maybe he just didn't have that great material heading into the late part of the 80s. What do you think? Was it the video that tanked his career, or do you think that he just didn't have the proper stuff, the right songs and everything going into the late part of the 80s? And what did you think of Rock Me Tonight? You know, did it kill his career? Did his emotions have a little bit too much emotion? Be sure to let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button too, and I will have more videos coming soon, all right? So take care.